Dinner that evening was a quieter affair than usual. The long banquet table, lined with carved cedar and inlaid with gold, reflected the warm glow of hundreds of oil lamps. Their flames swayed in the faint drafts from the open balcony doors, sending ribbons of light dancing over silver platters piled with roasted meats, saffron rice, and bowls of olives slick with oil. The evening air was thick with the heat of the desert, but dinner in the palace was just beginning. Zafira sat across the table, her father at the head, Morgoth seated beside him, his voice low and forceful as he discussed matters of defense and the realm's security. I watched her from the shadows, unnoticed, but every so often her eyes would flicker to the grand hall's entrance, as though searching for something or someone. She barely touched her plate, moving the food more than eating it, her brows drawn together in the faintest crease. She didn't seem to care for the conversation. Her fingers absently traced the rim of her goblet, lost in thought. I could feel the quiet agitation building in her, something out of place, but before I could approach, she stood. It wasn't like her to hide what troubled her, at least not from me, but tonight there was an edge to her silence that kept me from pressing her too soon. Instead, I watched her in the flickering light, the set of her jaw, the way her lips parted slightly as if she might speak, then pressed together again. My mind catalogued each small sign of her agitation, but I stayed still, letting her keep whatever battle she was waging behind her eyes. "I'll take my leave," she said curtly, her voice sharp like a blade cutting through the air. She barely spared anyone a second glance, leaving the table with her chin high. I didn't need magic to feel her restlessness. She'd had enough of Morgoth's endless talk. But as she passed, I couldn't help but notice a flicker of something darker beneath her grace. Something was wrong. I excused myself from my own duties and began to move swiftly through the hallways, my senses prickling with the growing unease that filled the air. I couldn't pinpoint it, only that something wasn't right. From the outside, the domed building was modest in size, its pale stone glowing under the moonlight. But stepping inside was like crossing into another realm entirely. The air was thick with heat and perfumed with a blend of rosewater and sandalwood. Marble pillars lined the walls, their bases disappearing into a shallow channel of running water that circled the room like a liquid ribbon. I hadn't meant to follow her. Not truly. After dinner, she'd risen from the table so abruptly that the soft scrape of her chair drew every gaze. She'd spoken to no one, not even her father, and swept out of the hall with her usual grace, yet there had been an edge to it, an edge that kept me from letting her vanish into the shadows alone. Her footsteps were easy to track through the palace corridors, and when she slipped into the domed bathhouse, I paused at the threshold, half tempted to turn back. By the time I reached the tropical bathhouse, the feeling in my gut had turned to dread. I moved to the edge of the clearing, stepping deeper into the shadows, hidden by the dense foliage and trees that lined the bath's perimeter.